For the Compound Podcast. This is episode 208. 208? Yes,
Correct.
208. 208 of the Compound Podcast presented by Connect Roasters, connectroasters.com for all of your coffee needs. Best coffee in the world. Maybe I'm a little biased. They have all kinds of different coffees from all over the world. We got blends, we got single origin, we got light roast, medium roast, dark roast. Connectroasters.com, 2 codes. Compound Club for 25% off your first order in the Home Run Club. Gets delivered to your house once a month, or Compound 15 for 15% off site-wide. Try a coffee, test it out, tell us what you like. Connectroasters.com. We have a lot to get to. I think we should start by saying Dakota's not here.
We're a man down. We're playing on the we're playing a man down.
We're playing hurt. Dakota went to, or tonight he's going to the Mariners game. He has a work friend who's his last day, and he has a Mariners game, so he couldn't do it post game today. He's working right now because of the time change. Zack and I are playing each other on the East Coast tonight. We're in Atlanta, and we have a lot to get to. We have a lot to get to. Zack, Boston, Atlanta.
Everywhere.
Lots happened in Atlanta the last couple of days. But first, tweeted about this, and we're going to officially announce live Compound during the season. We're going to do a live Compound show. Okay, the date is June 20th. June 20th at the Music Box Theater, about 7 p.m. Tickets will be $50. There's about 700 seats, so there'll be about 600 GA tickets at $50. We're gonna do some like VIP meet and greet tickets as well. Don't have the final numbers on that. Will shortly, but June 20th, Music Box Theater. That's right up by Wrigley. We're gonna have Dakota's gonna fly in for this. Zack, we tried to schedule this originally for when the Mets.
It looked good on paper.
Yeah, on paper, the Mets had an off day in Chicago. So we thought we might be able to get all 3 of us in person. But Dakota's still going to fly in. We're going to have friends of the pod on. We don't know, exactly what teammates, what Cubbies. I was actually thinking one of your former Mets teammates. But we're going to have some Cubbies on. We will announce those as we get closer. But Music Box Theater, June 20th, $50 for a ticket. They will go on sale this week.
Pretty exciting stuff right there.
Yeah, it is. It is. Did I do a good job getting all the details in?
No, that was good.
I tried really hard.
It was a really good. Obviously, I don't especially with how my life has been going. Who knows what could happen? But, I would really love to be there. It's such a good idea. Like people kind of know. They've seen you before. I'm sure they've seen Dakota and I play. Here and there, but to kind of see us kind of all in action at one point or at one time, not behind a computer screen, I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, when I have done the Compound Live stuff at the convention, it's always been cool to have live audience that people get into it. And it's really fun, but we've never been able to do it, with all of us there or even 2 of us there in person. So I think to have us in person interact with people, and like we want to do the meet and greet before so that we can like do a little Q&A and talk to people and like people that have been fans of the show for so long, which would be really fun. Can I ask you about your time with Boston?
My life, my life.
Do you think you're gonna go in the Hall of Fame with Boston?
I mean, baseball's a wild game.
I mean, you might be in the most wild. Like, I've played with guys who end up in this. Like, there's a small point in your career where you're out of options, you're a big leaguer, and you need to find a roster fit. And it's just a really crazy position to be in.
It really is. And you kind of like with the Mets, right? It's a very similar situation to where I'm at now with the Braves, where those guys play every day. in which I totally understand. You're kind of just there as an insurance policy, which again, so it is what it is. So when they brought JD and they signed JD, you kind of saw it happening. Like, okay, I haven't played in a few weeks. Like, this guy's going to play every day. Like, they're probably going to ship me out of here. Which again, saw it. You try not to play GM, but I mean, you're a human and you want to know where you're going in the near future. And then got to Boston. And then that was a little different because I thought it was a little bit of a better fit, but they had somebody coming back and I wasn't familiar with their roster whatsoever. So, they said like, hey, we have to make a move. And I was like, oh, okay. I had no idea, like whatever. And then, I got called a day or two later. I got traded here, to the Braves. And, Ian, like you said, there's a point where you're out of options. You don't know, it's like somebody wants you, but you don't know where. It's easy to, sit there and complain like, oh, I'm here, there. Like, at the end of the day, you have to take advantage of your opportunities, even if they're, few and far between. Because you don't know when or if how many opportunities you're going to get. And I'm not saying, if I would have hit 3 homers in the however many at bats that I had, that it would have changed anything. But again, and especially where I'm at now, like I would have never have thought in a million years that I would be with the Braves, especially, this year. Even when Luis Guillorme got traded from the Braves to the Angels the other day, I think it was the same day that I got traded over here. Like the Braves
Yeah.
were still never on my radar when that happened. And usually, like you kind of have an idea of what's going on around the league where,
Yeah.
I saw he got traded to the Angels, and I was like kind of bummed. It's like, man, that looked like, maybe that could have been a good fit where I could have went in there and played. Um, and then the Braves were still never on my radar at all. And when the Red Sox called me and said, hey, we traded you to the Braves, it was kind of like, oh, like, okay, like obviously you're a bench piece, like whatever. But to be here to watch a group like this group kind of go about their business for the last 3 days, there's really no secret as to, and obviously the type of players they are, there's no secret as to why they've had so much success over the last few years. But it truly is it's a crazy time in my career where I've always been like, I even got, the fourth option where usually you only have 3 options and something
Yeah.
has to happen for you to get a fourth option. So I've been the guy where it's like, hey, if you're not going to play, you're going to go play in AAA. So
Yeah.
it's pretty easy to know to feel sorry for yourself to be like, I'm all over the place. Obviously, you want to stay in one spot. But again, it's such a long season. Like again, last night, I hopped in there in the middle of a game where, it's like you don't know what can happen at any point in time. So
Yeah. Right. For the people listening, we're recording this on Monday morning. Austin Riley went down last night. Zack came in the game, couple of walks, couple of runs. Not a big deal. Not a big
no,
deal.
but yeah, I mean, it's again, you're on a team and you kind of have to do whatever you can do to prepare like you're going to play because if, one thing goes wrong, like you're in there. And then if you're not ready, if you're not prepared, you're doing not only yourself a disservice, but you're doing the rest of your team a disservice too by, people are relying on you. You're on the bench for a reason.
Yeah.
They can trust you to go in there. So, I mean, yeah, it's been a wild, probably month or two just in general, going from making a team into kind of sitting there. And I didn't really know what my role was going to be much with the Mets and kind of, you see it play out. But obviously there's a little bit more clarity here as to, probably not going to get in there unless something like this happens. But you got to, stay ready, as cliche as it sounds, and just keep plugging day by day.
Fire up the boys. Do you,
Yeah,
can I
that's
ask
right.
you, can I ask you two Braves questions?
Yes.
Do you love the Braves uni as much as I do?
They're so like, it's funny. I wish not to get into the Jersey saga again, but
You wish they were the good ones because
yeah, just like
yeah,
dude, the
yeah.
Braves, it's just like the
It'd be
Braves
sick to
jersey,
have like a
man.
good
Like,
old school Braves jersey. Damn. Yeah.
dude, just everything about it, like it hasn't changed. I don't think it's changed in a really
That's a good
long
point.
time, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
It
I
is
was
kind
kind
of,
of,
wait, can I just really quick? It is kind
yeah,
of bullshit. It's bullshit that you're playing for like these. sick
Dude,
organizations, and like all the jerseys you're taking home are small name jerseys.
I it
It's actually bullshit. Can we
the other
get
day,
let's
I think it was
next year when the jerseys go back, you have to just
I'm going to every club and say, hey,
call
I
each
want the new
clubby
one.
and just be like,
Yep.
hey, just give me one so that I can have it so it doesn't look like shit. Ah, damn
It's
it.
I think it was the first day when I was on the bench, and I remember I don't know which day it was, but I remember having like a was watching the pitcher. I don't know who it was, but like I looked at his jersey and I was like, man, that is such a sick jersey. Just like the A, like it's so famous, the chop, everything, and it's like, and
The
then
hats are sick too.
so sick. And then you turn around and it's like, who is that?
Yeah.
I can't read his name. But just even with Boston, dude, like the Boston jerseys, um, honestly, I think those might have been some of the most affected, I feel like. The gray ones that we wore, pretty sure you have the red writing on the back, and it would like it was hanging up on the first away game, and I was like, that looks horrendous. And it
It's
was
I think
like,
it's because there's like the outline piping, like there's no outline piping or
no, it's
no, I
just
don't
there, dude. Yeah, and you just look at it, and it's like, man, that sucks. That really
yeah.
does suck.
Especially for like the most like some of the most iconic. I've always loved the Braves unis though, and the hats, like the A hats, they got the just even the straight navy one with the white A is sick, and then they have the white and or the navy and red. Those are sick units. Okay, second Braves question.
Yes,
Max Fried.
bro.
Ooh.
That
No
was
no hits through 709 pitches, something like that.
it.
Ooh.
He was just throwing everything, and
He
like
has
he has a zillion pitches in general, but and they have the metrics up there, and I don't know if like his fastball cuts too, like a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
And there was one or two with like positive on the other side of the thing for a heater at like 95 or 96. I'm like, good God. And then he would flip the curveball in there at 20 miles an hour slower than and then he just had everything.
He can drop the curveball in for a strike early, just whenever he needs it. Beep. And then, he's got the four that cuts. He does have a cutter. He does have a changeup if he wants it. And then late in the count, he has a two, I think, too. And then
He
late
was throwing a sinker a lot.
in the sinker. And then late in the count, he throws that curveball harder. Eh,
He's he's
He's a good
really
pitcher.
good, man.
He's he's a good pitcher.
And dude, Charlie Morton too the other night. Guy's 40 years old throwing 96. Like,
Spinning it.
what do we got, man? I faced him last year in spring, and then I faced him last year in the regular season. And I think our hitters meeting, like they were talking about his curveball, and they were like, "Hey, man, like if it starts as a strike, do not swing. It is not going to be a strike." And you can just like, it's a, it's so spinny, and like you just see it. It's like there it is, and it just moves
Makes a sharp
so
turn.
much more. Yes, dude.
Oof. Charlie Morton can't retire. They keep paying him 20 million bucks.
That's what I
Keeps
mean.
getting older. Keeps
He's
getting
been
older.
asking to retire. He's like,
He's like,
yeah,
I don't want to play anymore. And they're like, here's 20 million bucks to pitch. He's like, all right, I'll do it. He's nasty.
yeah.
Braves are a good team. Braves
Yeah,
are a good
they
team.
are. They're and what's crazy is like what we're nine or 10 games over 500, whatever it is. Acuna is under like 720 OPS, something like that. Um, Ozzy really hasn't gotten going. Matt Olson struggling under 200, I think. Austin Riley only has, like, I think, 3 homers. Um, and it's like, man, imagine when this team really gets going again.
I mean, yeah, I think that's the scary thing with a team like that. You just like, it's not all clicking and they're still winning baseball games at a high clip. Hey, let's give it a few more days, huh? Let's give it a few more
Eh,
days. We actually play us twice.
yeah.
We have a very interesting schedule. We have, we
Dude,
just had,
I was
go ahead.
watching your game the other night and it said it had this schedule on there, and I was like, oh my God, what?
Yeah, we did this a few times last year in different spurts. It doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but we were just in Pittsburgh, now we're in Atlanta, and then we're going to go home and play Pittsburgh and then Atlanta, which is a little.
Yeah.
It's a little strange, but
I
that
really
won't
hope
see
I'm on
Atlanta
that
again. So
I hope
hopefully,
I'm here next week. So I have yet to go to Wrigley as a player. Been there, I feel like a bunch of times, seen it a bunch of times, but it's very close in my near future, and I would like to be on that trip.
I would love that for us.
Yeah.
Come hang out.
Yeah, that's all.
Love to hang out. We should talk about the Skenes debut. I was there. I was a participant. Brought to you by SeatGeek. So much to talk about with SeatGeek. We got code Compound 10. We're going to start off with the code Compound 10, 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek, whether you're a new customer or not. SeatGeek, maybe they can sell the live show tickets.
Mhm.
$50, Music Box Theater, Chicago, June 20th. SeatGeek, baseball is back. SeatGeek is hooking us up with a new special offer. It was just Compound 10. Compound 10, 10% off your next order. We got all kinds of events on SeatGeek. We got baseball games, we got tickets, we got concerts. SeatGeek, the link will be in the bio. 10% off, code compound 10. There's also an app. You can go to the SeatGeek app. Skenes debuted in Pittsburgh. I have not seen I haven't seen Pittsburgh have that many fans in a long time.
Yeah.
Um, it was a really cool scene. There's probably 35,000 people there, riled up, fired up. Just, when they announced him, when he came out to throw the first pitch, like it was cool to see that many people excited for him to debut. The craziest part about that was we saw the last day in Chicago, we saw Cease,
Yeah.
97, 98, 99 up there. Then we see Jared Jones from the Pirates first day, 99, 100, throwing it,
That guy's good.
throwing hard. And then we see Skenes debut. And I think he threw like 17 or 19 heaters over 100. Pretty good. There were some 101s in there, but he's got a slider. He's got the splinker thing. So
Yeah.
he's throwing a two seam, but normally a two seam would run. And if you're throwing a sinker, maybe there's a little bit of bottom to it, but guys that throw that hard with two pitches, if sinker's not the main pitch, it's usually like there's a little bit of depth, but it's more kind of run. He's throwing a splitter sinker combo, I think, where he just splits his fingers over he doesn't like dig it in, he kind of just splits his fingers over the seams at 93 to 95 off the 100 to 101 mile an hour heater. It has a lot of vertical. It's like in the 100th percentile, so it has the most of like sinker depth in the league. Like, so it kind of goes straight down. So it was an interesting combo. He went 4 innings. He came back up for the fifth. We got a couple guys on, and he was kind of at that 85 pitch limit, so they pulled him. Um, and we were able to score cash in two of those runs. So he went 4 innings, 3 earned. But a really cool scene in Pittsburgh. I mean, a really long rain delay, which wasn't great, but cool
Have
scene in Pittsburgh. And I think we'll get him again. I think we're lined up to get him again when
yeah.
they come this weekend.
Have you faced Duran from Minnesota?
I think I missed him. I don't think I got it bad off. Maybe one.
I'm curious to see if his splinker is similar to Skeens's because they both throw, 100, 101, and then they have this thing that just goes down like a splitter at 95 to 98. And it's like, how do you cover both? And then he has the off of that.
Yeah,
Um,
I've never seen him. Have you ever seen Edward Cabrera with the Marlins?
Marlins, yeah. I haven't faced him, but I know who he is.
So he throws a 93 to 95 mile an hour changeup. So it's kind of like that, but he doesn't really have his average fastball is
Yeah.
90. 96, and then his changeup is 93. So the changeup kind of plays like that, but the fastball, I think the fastball is more lateral and not as much like Skenes still has that
Dude,
extra life on his heater.
it's sneaky good by the Pirates too to kind I mean relatively early to bring him up and kind of get his feet wet, obviously. Where they easily could have said, no, like we're gonna leave you in AAA, work on it, figure it out. Because again, like that's a guy you're gonna want around for a very long time. And
Yeah.
I feel like the more starts that he gets, especially up there, like he's just gonna get better and better. I mean his angle for a righty doesn't look fun. But I mean is he pretty angled?
It's not like crazy, crazy. I mean, he's
Okay,
got some crossfire, but it's not like it's
got
not
it. I mean, that 1-2 punch with him and Jones. We faced Jones when I was with the Mets. Through 59 pitches, 5 innings or 5 innings. They took him out. Um, he threw 9 balls and punched a lot. And like guys were coming back and they were like, "Hey, that's like that's some of the best shit I've ever seen in my life."
There's not throwing any.
And you're a huge guy who really doesn't want to hear how good the pitcher is. Like,
Yeah, don't love that.
yeah, but like, and it wasn't even like guys were saying like, "Hey, that's nasty." It was just kind of like, "Hey man, what do you got?" And it was like, "Yeah, like get ready to hit." Like, and you could just tell it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that guy's
You,
pretty good.
yeah. I'm trying to see how many pitches Strasburg threw in his debut. Because there's a lot of Strasburg debut comps here. I'm trying to figure out how many pitches Strasburg threw in his debut. But it's gonna be interesting to see how Pittsburgh handles this
Yeah.
because I think Jared Jones is on a pitch count or
Bro, like I said, he came out after 59 like seamless, just like going
yeah.
through the motions, 59 pitches with 9 balls, and they took him out, and they're like, yeah, he's on an innings limit. And it's like, man.
Yeah, I think they're trying to keep him healthy and make sure because he's young too, and then Skenes is going to be on some kind of limit. I don't know if that's 85 pitches, if that's going to get up to 100 at some point, but
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see if they try to go with a six-man rotation to help those guys too, and maybe up the pitch count, or if they keep it on a five-man and keep the pitch count down or what. But
What
their
kind of
their bullpens are going to have some innings to handle, and it'll just be interesting to see how because this is some of these big young arms coming up throwing 8 billion, and we've seen kind of the velocity to injury correlation, and it'll be very interesting to see because Pittsburgh needs to keep these guys healthy. I mean, for the game, for them, it's good if they're pitching. It's so
it's
interesting to see how they try to figure that out.
it's such a fine line because you see arguments on both sides where it's like, no, like we want to, baby their arms, which again, I understand if you're going to take that stance. But then the other end, it's like, okay, well, when it comes time when they want you to throw 100 pitches, then you're like, well, I haven't done this in, X amount of years. Like, how am I kind of supposed to get ready to do this? How is my body primed and my arm primed to throw 100, 110 pitches? Um, and it's like, you see stances on both sides. It's such a tricky, especially where we are now. Like you said, it just seems like no matter what you do, it's like something's going to come up down the road. What
Yeah,
knock on wood. Obviously, I hope it doesn't for anybody. But
yeah.
it's like it's just the kind of like again, you're throwing 100 miles an hour. You're throwing, it's just like man.
I
But
do think I think it's really interesting just in the minor leagues because like you get these pitchers and I'll use our guys for example, like Jordan Wicks. Like Jordan Wicks when he's at Kansas State, like he's throwing 100, 120 pitches an outing in college. And that's once a week. He's a Friday starter. But once a week he's throwing 100 and 120 pitches. Then you go to the minor leagues and a lot of teams have different rules, but I think it's pretty uniform across the board now. Is like 5 innings, 75
I
pitches.
was gonna say you're not if a starter goes more than 5 innings in the minor leagues, you're like, who is that? And like, why is it? It's such a different game in the minor leagues.
Yeah. So like every starting pitcher is 5 innings or 75 pitches, whichever comes first in the minor leagues right now. Pretty much. Pretty much. So, and then you have to cut. So they're like, you can't do it in the big leagues because you have less players. Like in the minor leagues, you have more relief pitchers. There's more pitchers on the roster. And a lot of those pitchers can go 2 innings. Like that's their back to back. They don't throw back to back days. It's like you have more pitchers, they throw an inning or 2 innings, and then they're down for a day or two. And so it's a much different usage of pitchers. But then you get to the big leagues and you need guys like you start to go 6 innings or 7 innings and get to that 85, 95, 105 pitch limit. And so you're trying to teach guys in the big leagues to get back and like used to that. Uh, when their whole lives, or if the guys through in college, like they at some point they would have been doing that. So it's interesting to see. And like a guy like Shota, like Javier Assad's in unbelievable pitching shape. Like that dude can go out and throw 100 pitches every 5 days and like
Yeah.
do it again in 5 days. But like Shota being 30 years old, being like a professional who's been doing this for a long time, like you see the difference between like he's not running out of gas at 100 pitches. He's like he has the you know, he's completely in control, kind of has the governor on the whole game, like understands and like getting into the seventh, the other day he went into the eighth and gave up a homer,
Yeah.
but it didn't look like he was like gassed
Laboring.
out
Right.
there. Like he knows how to like be under control and like always be using his stuff and like what to go to a third time, fourth time through. Like it is a different thing. And I think that guys don't really get to work on that in the minor leagues. And that's like you have to work on it as a young pitcher in the big leagues.
It it's even in the baseball aspect, right, of the minor leagues, like especially if you're on the roster and you squared a bunt, their coaches are kind of looking at you like, hey, what are you doing? Honestly, I'd even say if you're not on the run, like unless you're like a speed guy and like that's really, really a part of your game, like they're saying, no, 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 here we go, swing the bat. And then you get called up and it's first and second in the eighth inning, and it's like, hey, we need you to get a bunt down. And it's like, yeah, obviously I should know how to bunt, but it's like you haven't bunted in years. Truly. Like
Yeah,
the only
maybe a little bit in spring training.
yeah. And in a game, like probably if your team goes to the playoffs the year before, that's when like they'll really, really, really play to win. Um, it's wild, man, how much different of a game the minor leagues are compared to the big leagues. And it's nobody at fault. It's just like, hey man, like we want to see you swing like before you go up there. And then when you get up there, it is all hands on deck. We're trying to win a game,
Yeah.
like get the job done.
A couple more things to get to. One, uh, Wilson Contreras, gross, gross. Wilson's catching, um, and JD Martinez is hitting actually, and JD stands way back in the box.
Way back.
A lot of depth in his swing. He's trying to get on plane really early. And the Cardinals had moved Wilson up in the kind of closer to home plate to steal more strikes. Because the closer you get, the more you can get that bottom pitch to look like a strike. And JD whacked him right in the arm. You get a catcher's interference for the clip the glove or something. Wilson got bat
Yeah.
to the forearm, snapped his forearm, surgery. He's going to be out for a couple months. I felt horrible. I texted him and just, told him I was thinking of him. He's a big part of that team. Great player. I think he's starting catcher 3 times for the National League All-Star game. Like he sucks to have him out for a couple
Yeah.
months. I feel really bad for him.
You saw it happen too, and you were like, man, that's like a really weird catcher's interference, like
Yeah.
to get hit that high up.
And he just like Wilson, he wants to do anything he can to help the team. He wants to do anything he can to help the team, the organization, like win baseball games. And if putting his entire arm in front of home plate is like the way for them to get more strikes and win more games, like he'll do it. He's not
He'll do it.
afraid.
Yeah.
He is not afraid of anything. When I saw that, that was one of the. I was like, that guy. Like, if I'm catching, and they're like, "Hey, man, move, put your head up there." I'm like, no, 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 no. That's gonna. I don't feel comfortable with that. I don't like it. Wilson's not afraid of anything.
No.
Ain't scared.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not afraid of anything, but I don't know if I would ever try Wilson Contreras in my life.
No. There's one more thing I wanted to talk about with that. The last topic was a good one and I liked it. And I wanted to make
I have one on the back burner if you want.
okay, you go ahead. And then we're gonna do Danny Mueller's hot take, but give me
So
your background.
um in the baseball world, there's a new metric that is allowed, they're not allowed, that is available for the
Public
public viewing.
consumption,
Yeah, do you know what that is?
bat speed.
Yes. And it's very,
Sorry.
very interesting because Luis Ariz has, I'm pretty sure, bottom percentile of his bat speed.
Yeah.
But then somebody like Ohtani obviously is in the higher percentile. And I think it's this is, again, I could be right wrong. I think it's a very interesting tool where you can see it. And I think it's a really interesting topic to be talked about. But the average bat speed for the best hitter in the MLB is Ohtani, 75.4. The average bat speed for the worst hitter in the MLB is Javier Baez, which is 75.4. And it's
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't matter.
no, and I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you want to say this, but you've kind of dabbled in the bat speed training before, right?
Yeah.
Um, and it's very interesting where, like Stanton obviously is the highest by a zillion. I don't know what yours is, Ian. You just texted in the group there. I'm just looking.
Tom will find it.
Yeah. It's a very interesting topic of discussion, I think, where it's another data point, but I don't think like the first two people in the lowest are Luis Ariz and Steven Kwan, and those are two of like the most bat to ball,
Hey, Rick.
probably pure hitters, right? Like some of the pure, bat to
Yeah.
ball hitters in baseball. Um, Isaac Paredes is, bottom percentile, and he rakes. Charlie Blackmon, same thing. It's Alex Verdugo, same thing. Like,
I have thoughts on this.
give it
Ian,
to me.
yours is 72 miles an hour.
Nice. You swinging that thing.
Freak yeah. I swing a harder righty than lefty. I have a couple thoughts. One thought is it's interesting how they measure this because our numbers internally, we have bat speed measurements too. I'm pretty sure our numbers measure speed of the barrel because our numbers are closer to like 90. Like the guys that are in the top percentile, like the hardest swingers, the Otanis, the Alvarezes, like they're at like 95.
Ian, did you say you swing harder from the left side or the right side?
Right side.
Yes. Okay. Just confirming.
Really?
What's my right side?
73.2 on the right, 71.8 on the left.
That's interesting. I feel like you swing way harder lefty. I can just picture your lefty swing. The recoil with your
Yeah. No, the righty
Interesting.
swing's always been harder, but it's interesting to see. Like, I don't know if they're measuring this from the knob or like what
Yeah.
kind of what the speed metric is, or like where in the swing they're measuring it. But it's interesting that there's two different measurements of bat speed, right? So, like if you've seen what's the thing you put on the knob?
The
Blast, no ads, no
yes,
free ads.
blast,
The
yeah.
blast motion that guys put on the knob, and that gives us a speed. I'm pretty sure that's like knob speed, and that is
Yeah.
closer to like the 75 number. And so then I think this would be measuring from the knob instead of from the barrel. So
Yes.
that's one thing. The second thing is bat speed. The harder you swing when you impact the ball, harder it goes out. That's real. But barrel accuracy is such a big
Right.
part of hitting the ball hard. It's like in golf, swing speed, super important. Hitting in the center of the club face, like very important, but not like there's a lot of forgiveness on that face, and like the ball's not moving. So it's a lot easier at a high speed to hit the center of the club face on a repeated motion, right? Baseball, so adjustable, need to be so adjustable. The pitch is moving, everything's changing. Guys are doing a billion. And so barrel accuracy is so important. So you're talking about like people get all hyped up about swing speed. Like, well, it gives you more room for error, gives you more this, gives you more that, gives lets you like, well, if it takes me time to generate speed and like I have to swing harder or I saw a tweet yesterday that was like, well, if you swing harder, you can start later. It's like not necessarily true because some of the people that swing the hardest have to start to because you're getting the barrel up to speed this way so that you can get it to the fastest. Like Luis Ariz doesn't have any wasted motion.
Bro.
If he wanted to generate more speed, he could, but he doesn't. He's swinging from right here. Stephen Kwan, same thing. Like those guys are swinging from like a very tight, very quick position. So even though they're not swinging hard,
But
they're swinging hard.
their depth behind the ball is like you said, that room for error with their barrel accuracy. And if you watched like their swing in fast motion, where like their blur is and how quickly, like I think they're quick, they're way more and like I think this is like a huge thing too. It's like you want to be quick, in my opinion, where it's like at any second you can snap or like snap your fingers and you're like, okay, I want to swing. Where, if you're like, for me, like if I were to try to get my bat speed in the whatever, however hard it was, like I picture that as like muscling up as much as I can and like using my whole body, where it's like that's not necessarily the greatest thing.
Yeah, you want to be quick. Like you want to be quick and accurate.
Yes, but I mean, yeah, you want to swing hard, obviously.
Yeah, obviously, bigger people, bigger levers, like
yes.
Ohtani and Stanton, and like these like massive dudes with long levers, like are able to swing harder than smaller guys, smaller levers. But
yeah,
barrel accuracy is so important because the ability to hit the ball on the barrel all the time is really, really important. And like if you have a swing that you swing really, really hard, but you produce ground balls, like it doesn't matter.
No.
So it's an interesting metric, but I think it'll be
I'm sure it's gonna run its course along social media lines where
oh man, there's gonna be people like the harder that you swing, more good things can happen. And for every mile an hour harder, the ball goes an extra 10 feet. This is what I wanted to talk about also. I don't want to get into the balls. I don't want to have a whole conversation about the balls, but it's interesting. Balls are flying in an interesting fashion. Like Morel hit a ball off Skenes 107.5 at like 26. And it was like there was a little bit of wind, like a little bit of like wind coming in or crosswind, but Pittsburgh is just not a deep center field. Like it's 399 out there, and that's like the deepest part. And he hit it just left of center, 107.5 at 26, I think. I mean, it's a homer.
That's what we like to call ideal.
Yeah, homer all the time. And it didn't even get to the wall. It's like up at the track. And then, I hit a ball yesterday right-handed, like 103.5 at 18. It felt like it was like just a can of shit out there in center. Not like it wasn't gonna burn, it was too low to burn anybody, but like it just felt like it got halfway there and just like hit the brakes. I had a ball 104 plus at 20 yesterday to right center. Didn't even go off the wall. It just like some of the balls go, some of the balls like come backwards. I don't know. It's interesting. It's interesting.
You have Ivy up right now?
I could.
Can you see what Pete Alonso's metrics were? I think it was the day game 2 days ago on Saturday, right? Today's Monday. I think he hit a ball 108. Barely got to the track in center field. Granted, center field's 408, I understand, but Pete can impact a baseball.
This was to center in the day game. Do you remember who was pitching? Max Fried.
Yes.
105 at 28.
Waiting for that.
Oh, never mind. It's a little different.
Went 405.
Are you watching the video? Did it get to the track or no?
Yeah, it was in the middle of the track. It went 405.
I remember just like the trajectory, the sound. It just didn't look good. And
You
you're
just felt
kind
like it was going to go far. I mean,
yeah, you know, like thought
that's
it
a
was gonna
homer a
weaken the
lot.
apple.
That's a homer a lot. It's a homer in New York. I mean, I don't know. I there's always like a balls at a certain number and a certain trajectory have a lot of different possible outcomes because of wind, because of
Let's
place.
say wind, spin, all that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the spin is impacting these balls more.
Yeah.
So like the higher and the harder you hit it, the more spin that's on it, the more chance it has to get knocked down.
Yeah. Say the way you impact it as well.
Yeah. We also did see in Pittsburgh, before we get to Danny Mueller's hot take, we also did see in Pittsburgh a 113. O'Neal Cruz hit 113 at 47 home run. Did you see that?
In order for somebody to hit a ball 113, for the most part, it's like a line drive. Because, you know, for people out there, like the lower the ball, the angle, the harder metrically it's hit.
Just the lower that you hit it, the better chance you have to flush it
Yes.
because the bat and the barrel or the ball and the bat are matching up. When you start to loft the bat to get it to go in the air, it's harder to flush it because you kind of be hitting up on it and creating more spin.
In order for you to hit it, like that would have been like 125 miles an hour if it was a ground ball or a line drive. Like I think that's like safe to say, right?
He did hit 120-mile-an-hour homer earlier in the day before.
113 at 47 degrees. Is
At
that the
40.
highest? Is that the highest ever?
One of. It's like third or fourth. But he hit it. It's like you would expect a home run like that at 47 degrees. For people at home, that's like straight up, like directly up. For you would think that it would have to go like perfectly down the line to get out of the ballpark. He hit this, the Clemente
It was
wall.
like
The Clemente
right
wall
center,
in right
right?
field. Well,
Yeah.
no, it wasn't right center. It was like dead right, but it was like in the middle of the Clemente wall.
Yes. Okay.
And it did go in the first row, and a fan caught it like literally in the first row.
I
But
don't care.
it was like he hit it, and I was like, he hit that hard. It's like second baseman's not going to catch it. Right fielder's not going to catch it. Oh my God. Like, I was like, holy. I mean, it was loud and it was high. He had some impressive pop-ups
He
this year.
he
A
he
couple homers.
is that's an impressive guy when he's got it going.
There's a lot of raw and natural ability there.
Yeah.
Should we get to Danny Mueller's hot take?
Please.
Presented by Bruce Bolt, brucebolt.us. I'm actually going to talk to Bruce Bolt a little bit later today about maybe a new invention, a new thing, Zack might like this at some point. brucebolt.us, they have batting gloves. We just finished Mother's Day. Maybe get yourself a pair of the pink batting gloves. They have. brucebolt.us, I have 2 pairs of batting gloves, white, baby blue, signature series. You can get game hats. Baseball season's right around the corner for summer ball. Game hats for your team. They have pants. They have shorties. They have long pants. They have the knickers. Whatever you want. brucebolt.us for all of your baseball desires. Danny Mueller, question of the day. He had 2. We'll start with one and see if we need the other one. You know what? The first one, a little bit off topic. Second one, the Apple AirPods, okay, with the cord are better than the wireless. It sounds like somebody that doesn't want to pay up for the wireless.
I've seen people like probably more often recently using the ones with the cord, and I just don't understand. Like, I thought we're at a point now where it's like, man, like going cordless for everything is kind of great. Like, you don't have to worry. I remember like in high school or even middle school, probably middle school, if I were to go play basketball or shoot free throws, whatever, I would listen to music and I'd have to tuck my thing
Yeah,
through
right up.
my shirt. Yeah. And it was like, all right, this is, whatever. And now it's just like I can go run without my like wires everywhere. And it's like, Man, imagine having a wire. Like I have never once thought about going back to a wire.
No,
Ever.
there's no skipping. Like there's no like you know, and like if you would have to like somebody would come up to you and you'd like pop one out, it would like beep. It's like I listen. If you the only thing if you want to go out there and say that the wires are better, they have the little microphone that if you like need to talk and like
Yes,
don't
that
want a bunch
yeah,
of
yeah.
background noise, like I don't see Danny Mueller like making a bunch of calls up here on the microphone, but I don't. That's a crazy take to me. The wireless are more convenient. They're just overall better. I Tom, do you have thoughts on this? And that's did they even work? Did the wired even work with the new phone?
Yeah, they have like the lightning.
Oh,
It goes into the lightning port now. I was a wired guy for a long time. I will say I've made the switch, but the one thing that I don't like about the AirPods is I always feel like they're gonna fall out of my ears, and especially when you live in like where I'm taking the subway a lot. I'm very scared of them falling onto the subway track, and now I have one AirPod, and now I'm just fucked. So
so
I do
the
think the
other one
wires
stay
have
in
that
better?
advantage. What'd you
The
say?
wired stay in better?
Well, because they're attached to your phone. Like they're not gonna like the AirPod could just fall out of my ear. I feel like they're not very securely in my ear sometimes.
I mean, I have little ears and the AirPods don't fit great in my ears, but
No, I bought new
still got
AirPods recently, and I feel like they don't fit as well as the old ones. And now I'm like, ugh.
Do you want to hear Danny Mueller's other hot take?
I hope I guess you know what it is called hot takes for a reason.
Yeah. This one, no. We're
Are,
Is
gonna
at
Danny
the live
is
show, are we
Danny
gonna have Danny Miller come on and do a live hot take? I think we have to.
I think he would love that. I think
is
he would
he
really
is
love
he
that.
with you guys right now?
Yeah, he's here.
We're gonna have a conversation about that last topic.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. Talk to him about the cream cheese too.
Oh,
Uh, I'm trying to think if there's one other thing. We're gonna save that voicemail for next week. We got a voicemail we're gonna save for next week. Tom, do you have that phone number?
Yeah, give me one sec.
We're gonna tell the people the phone number again. But remember, we have a live show June 20th, Music Box Theater right by Wrigley. $50 GA tickets. Dakota's gonna be there. We're gonna have special guests, friends of the pod.
must be nice.
We're gonna miss Zack.
The number is 347-685-9404.
One more time.
347-685-9404.
That's for voicemails. That's for voicemails. We're gonna keep doing voicemails every week, every other week. So leave your voicemails. We'll answer them a couple at a time. Let's do the slow screen time. I think Zack, we're probably gonna both have travel day high ones, huh? You have a high one?
Yeah.
I got a little bit.
I got lucky though because mine was a little bit more this morning because
Ah, Sunday
we
night baseball.
we didn't board until 12 o'clock.
Ew.
I mean, we took off at like probably 12:30.
Where'd you fly out of?
I'm not joking. I was so tired. I have no idea. I was just along for the ride.
Sloan is the world's leading manufacturer of commercial plumbing systems. The company is at the
Oh
forefront
God, yeah, this is high. Oof.
green building movement and provides smart, sustainable, and hygienic restroom solutions by manufacturing water efficient products, including flushometers, faucets, sink systems, soap dispensers, and fixtures for commercial, industrial, and institutional markets worldwide. To learn more, visit sloan.com. Zack, what is your screen time?
6:43. I guess I wasn't as late as I thought.
6:43. Mine, oh, wow. Wow. 2:39 for me.
Bullshit.
Dude, I
bro.
seriously thought, I swear to God, I thought I had a really high screen time.
There's no chance.
And I'm
What
sorry.
was that number?
2:39.
Oh, fuck out of here with this. 740.
What?
I don't know how that was so low. I feel like it wasn't registering some of my time.
Yeah, hang on. Let time out. Let's end that and then go back. We're gonna have to get the bottom. You can't say that it was a high. No, we got time. You got 3 minutes.
All right, go ahead.
No, you do it. Reset it. End your settings.
You know,
What's
I think it
happening
is.
right now?
I think the math isn't adding up, but let me,
Just go like
because it
this.
says I have, listen, just let me, I'm calling myself out. It says I have 3 hours and 16 minutes of social and 41 minutes of entertainment, but the total screen time is only,
Yeah. So
so I think there's some bad math. Let me try to refresh it. Let me try to get back in there, all right?
yeah, you got to get back in there.
I felt like the screen time was higher, but it's all it's given me.
Wow.
I'm sorry. All I can do is show you what it's given me.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm sorry. I think
You're
it was
bad.
more like a 4 hour screen time. Okay. I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm just gonna be honest. Felt like more like a 4 hour day.
That's all we can ask for, really.
Just honesty. Okay. Before we go, live show. Music Box Theater, June 20th. Tickets are going to go on sale this week. We will tweet the link. I will tweet the link. We will post it. There will be a website. The Music Box Theater is going to sell the tickets. $50 per ticket, June 20th, Music Box Theater. ConnectRoasters.com. Go get all of your coffee. Try it. Connect Roasters. 2 codes, Compound Club, Compound 15. Dakota will be back next week, episode 208 of the Compound Podcast, presented by Connect Roasters. Come to the live show, June 20th. See you next week.